of Japan, then found underwater cities, and I guess everyone in a way want to claim that is, Atlantis found finally, but I don't know.
No, whenever somebody wants to argue about Atlantis with me, I go run and hide under a rock or something because I know I'm going to lose. Because
Okay.
they insist, like a religion.
Sure.
It's Atlan Tesh, Atlan by the water Tesh place.
Mm.
And they'll say no, you're wrong. So I'm beginning to think maybe the real Atlantis is probably Timbuktu or something.
Okay.
Because it's certain. And I said, well, if Atlantis is not Atlantis, then what is it?
Yeah. Huh.
Yes, but Tracuta was definitely an Atlantis.
Okay.
And it was known about.
Mm.
Tracuta was known about on up almost into modern times because when the Muslims tried to take over Portugal, some Portuguese priests, they went and they went to live in what was left, well, I think of Tracuta, but they call it Antillia, Antilles.
Okay. Oh, okay. Hmm.
And Antilles was known about it. It was even on maps that Columbus and all of them knew about the Antilles.
Mm-hmm.
But when they got over to the Americas, they couldn't find them anymore. So I say this, well, maybe the Antilles went underwater. They have volcanoes up and down that area.
That's interesting. That's I find the whole traveling over, by the Portuguese and the Spanish over to America, especially South America in that time, very fascinating. Do you think that they actually knew where they were going at the time? With the discovery of America and all of this, but do you think that they had? There are traces of what is it called, a Piri-Reis map, and there are a number of hidden maps or ancient maps that actually detailed Americas before the Europeans discovered. Do you think that is the case, that they have knowledge about it?
The Piri-Reis, he was a Turkic. He was Turkish himself.
Really?
And yeah, he was Turkish himself, and he got all of his maps from ancient Turkic documents. That alone goes to show you how old Turkey is.
Okay, really, that's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. And Piri-Reis was a Turkic man.
Mm.
And my new wife, she saw that Piri-Reis map in Turkey. I didn't go along with her because I didn't want to have. I don't like to fight. I'm 80 years old. I like a little peace in my life.
Mm-hmm.
We just go on vacations once in a while together.
Sure.
That's enough for me.
Okay. One thing I want to ask you a little bit about also is the pyramids. I mean, we can begin with the ones in Mexico, maybe. When this area was colonized, I guess we should say then, did these newcomers to that area, were these guys the builders of the pyramids we can see over in South America today?
Well, now, talking about those pyramids, now, you know about the Olmecs.
Yeah, sure.
The Olmecs. Their name was Olmec or Olman or Olmec.
Mm.
Well, those are Turkish names for our Adam, the first man on Earth.
Oh, really?
Both of them.
Okay.
And see, the Turks don't call. I have their dictionary here to prove it. They don't call their first man on Earth. See what they call it. No, they call mankind. They call mankind Adam.
Okay, the entire mankind.
But their mankind is not like our Adam, of the Bible.
Okay.
It's just mankind in general, because their word for the first man is Olmec or Olman.
That's interesting.
And or Teotihuacan.
Mm-hmm.
I was there this February. I've been there many times. Teotihuacan is Teo is a name for God in Greek and also in Turkic.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tiwa is a name for like a sun god or something, and it's the name of an ancient Turkic republic that even today has that same name.
Tiwa?
Yeah, and Khan in Turkey is another word for king.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's fascinating. Teotihuacan. So these were, again, we have evidence then of that these were of Turkish, origin, the places, and even the builders then, I guess, were of Turkish descent?
They were Turkish, and the Hindus don't like to admit it, but the Turks gave them their civilization too. But those two civilizations merged, and they all became India. Okay. And that was from the top of where Alaska is now down to the tip of of South America.
Uh-huh.
And that ancient civilization existed in Utarakudu is what they call the Turks call the civilization at the North Pole. They call it Utarakudu, or the farthermost Kudu nation.
Mm.
And this is there. And this is another thing that gets me. Nearly everybody I talk to wants to insist that the ancient civilization existed in Antarctica.
Mm.
They don't want to know where. I don't think people even want to know where anything is. And so they'll insist that the civilization is down there in Antarctica, and I say there was not one there. It was in just as Piri Reis and all the other the old Greek legends and Turkic legends said it was, and in Hindu legends, it's Utarakudu, the North Pole.
The North Pole, okay, the North Pole.
Well, it's starting to melt now. We might find the truth out sooner or later.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck? They discovered just very recently, the ancient traces of DNA they could find on I think it was Greenland.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's starting to get up there. So if things melt, I mean, they've found. And even, by the way, because we talked about the Siberia connection previously, and I'd love to talk more about that, the Mayans in Siberia and so forth. But in Siberia, they found traces of, I think, instantly frozen. What do you call them? Not elephants, but I forget the word now. But
mastodons?
No, I can't. Anyway, mammoths, of course. Yes, that's right. Mammoths with. They actually have frozen, vegetation in their digestion tract and even in their mouth, fresh. So meaning that something occurred in that region many thousands of years ago with a tremendous, cold coming in over the area and so forth, and froze that area. So again, this might be attributing to what you talked about earlier, that there might have been a shift of the planet in some way. The axis have shifted, and we have had shifting climate on the planet, and in just might be then that in just the recent don't know what thousands of years or so, the Arctic area has been covered in ice since, but before that this might have been a very green area where many peoples lived and so forth. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure you've heard of Mount Meru, haven't you?
Mount Meru?
Well, Mount Meru, that old mountain that supposedly all of us in the world came from.
Yeah, definitely, Meru, yeah.
Yeah, well, see, the left pedal of it points toward a place called Ketumala or Chetumala.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that still exists right now by the same name in Belize, Central America, next to the state of Quintana Roo. And it's still there, and it's even now a safe harbor.
Okay.
And so you look on the map, and you'll see that Ketumala, and right beside it, you'll see a little spot like there's supposed to be water, and it is called the Western or the Kashapa Sea. Now the Kashapa Sea is the Caribbean, because see, the Caribbean islands have more sea turtles than any other place on Earth.
Okay.
And there was a turtle there called the hawksbill turtle that the people hunted for its shell to make jewelry and ornaments out of.
Okay.
Now then, those turtles, hawksbill turtles, are nearly fished out. They say there are probably not any more than maybe 22,000 alive today. They don't know.
Okay.
But the Hindus evidently went to the Kashapa Sea, perhaps, to harvest it.
Mm-hmm.
And then next to the Kashapa Sea, you have Quintana Roo, where Cancun is. Well, Cancun, that's another name of the western coast of India.
Okay.
And it all points to the fact that they're there. Now, this I just found out about a week or so ago. You've heard of Barry Fell, haven't you?
Say that name again.
Barry Fell. He went around looking for things like this, and he found a stone in Teosuco, which is over there in Quintana Roo, a stone with writing on it in the Tamil Hindu language. And I have the picture of the stone here, and concerns, they translated part of it. Some of my Hindu friends have already translated part of it, and it concerns a Hindu man who went there called Tilsukal. That's where the name of the town is, where they found this stone. Now, I got to thinking about that Tilsukal, and that derives also from Sanskrit, from Deva Sukha,
Okay.
or the demigod Deva Sukha. He was a great Hindu navigator, and still has his name. And I've, about a week ago, on the request of these Hindu men, I wrote to them an email asking them if we could throw some water on that and take a picture of that, or else put aluminum powder on it, so that the letters would come out a lot better, so that they can translate the whole stone.
Yeah.
And so we have all those same names there.
Yeah.
And or take Belize. Belize, that comes from the Sanskrit Belisha, which means God Shiva facing the east at dawn.
Really? Okay.
Or take the Spaniards when they went into the Caribbean area. Father Gregorio Perez, in his book El Origen de los Indios, The Origin of the Indians, he said that the Caribbean Indians told the Spaniards that their forefathers were the Kururumani.
Okay.
Well,
wait a minute, hold on here, because this is interesting, because I mean, who were it that stumbled upon the Americas and said that he was looking? Was it Columbus that discovered?
Well, Columbus,
we're looking for India.
I'm trying to think of that. I should know. Especially now that I'm being interviewed this way, and
yeah,
a little nervous. But it was in San Salvador.
Oh, okay.
No, was it the Dominican Republic? I think that's where.
Okay, that might be, but that is interesting. The correlation again between these areas then, because if they said that they were looking for India, but actually ended up in South America, but actually as you have revealed to us today, then that there actually are many connections between even the place names between India, and South America. So in a way, they might have been looking at some, some old map somewhere, and actually have gotten the directions from another map, and thought that they were going to India because of the names or whatever, but they actually stumbled upon Americas, as it were. I think that there's a whole lot more to that story, of course, obviously, but just an interesting side note there. I don't know.
Well, you know that when he was kicked out, Quetzalcoatl was kicked out of India. And he was sent to Americas, which was called Patala, or Patal. Well, that name still exists in Veracruz now, and on the east coast of Mexico. Patala means, even in the Mayan languages, because there are Mayan languages, they're not just one, and even in the Mayan languages, of which there are 36, it still means abandoned or deserted land or without people. Even today. Now the Nagas. The Nagas, the Mayan lowlands today, even today, are called Nakaste. Now, Nakaste appears to be a compound word originally derived from Sanskrit, Nagasta, land of the Western Nagas. It's the same.
Yeah.
The ancient Hindus, when the Spaniards went to North America, and they say, what is the name of this place? And so the American Indians told the Spaniards that all of North America was Quivira.
Quivira?
Quivira, like Cubera, or Heber. It was all called Quivira. And so that's what we, even today, here in the United States, all of us, a lot of us like to brag that we were from Quivira because it extended into Kansas, where I was born.
Okay.
Now take, here's what I have right here. Southern Mexico bristles with Hindu and Ceylonese or Lankan names. For instance, the Mayans told the Spaniards that their forefathers came from a western land lying 150 days sailing time from Mesoamerica.
Yeah.
And they said they were from Lanka. And here are the names that the Mayans gave for that. Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka.
Well, Sri Lanka is an ancient